Season's greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's YouTube live event, Start and End of Year Procedures. My name is Quentin. I'm one of Santa's helpers, and I'm going to be bringing you an early Christmas present, which is to show you how easy and how quick it's going to be for you to do your start of year and end of year procedures with SmartSuite Library and TV4Education. Alright, so when we're doing end of year and start of year procedures, the first thing we need to think about is our borrowing limits. Okay, so the borrowing limits, we usually have an end of year borrowing period that requires you to go into the settings and update that from 2019 to 2020. The first gift that we're going to be giving away today on behalf of Santa is to let you know that as part of the FSI suite of products, you are not going to have to worry about that. That's right, the customer service team and the infrastructure team, we're going to take care of that for you. All of your end of year and expiry dates, they are taken care of, so you just need to take one of your sips of eggnog, red wine or white wine, whatever you're into, sit back and relax, we've got that covered. The next thing that you guys need to worry about is your rollover of student information. Now, if you already have automatic patron importing happening on your system, or you have automatic account commissioning with some of our schools, department schools over in Western Australia, or you've got our ADI sync tool set up, this step you won't need to worry about because the sync tool is going to take care of that for you. If you are relying on manual imports, we're going to go through that today and show you what needs to be done. So the first thing that you're going to need to do when you come back to school is to get the CSV file from your administration team of all the student information. Now this means all the students that are currently in your database, as well as any new enrollments that you received over the Christmas break. Now the minimum information that we recommend for that CSV file to contain for each patron is first name, surname, their enrollment number, which we want to use for their barcode and their external ID, and an email address. The last two things that we need is their year levels and their homeroom. So if you make sure that your CSV file has those 6 pieces of information as a minimum, the next steps are going to be really easy for you. So have a chat to your administration team or your ICT coordinators before the year is out. Make sure that they can get that CSV file to you readily and easily at the beginning of the year once the enrollments have been rolled over in your admin system. Once they have done their rollovers, then we can just pick back off there. Okay, so once we have that the CSV file, let's jump in and see what we need to do. Okay, now the first thing that we need to do with our clients is we need to deal with the users that may have left our school or our organisation between 2019 and 2020. Now in the past we received lists from our administration team, and these contained which of those users have left our institution. The easier way to do it is to do what I'm going to do now, which is to move our entire client base to a new classification or year group level of left 2019. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to create that classification. So we're going to click on System menu. We're going to go to Configuration, and we're going to go to Global Functions. Now once our global function page loads, we're going to go over to our Class Grade Edit tab. Okay, now we can see here a list of classifications or year levels that are already in our system. So I've got a few different classifications for my users here. I've got Year 7, Year 10, 11, 9, 8, 12, etc., etc. I'm going to go down to the blank field at the bottom of the screen and I'm going to type left space 2019 and I'm going to leave all the other parameters blank and click add new. Now that I've created that account and I can see that through the confirmation message at the top of the screen, what I want to do is I want to move my entire student body to this classification of left. Now what's going to happen is the next step after this, we're going to do an import, and that import is going to reclassify all of our clients into their correct year groups for 2020. The users that don't have an entry in that CSV file are going to remain in that left 2019 classification. We can then do a report on all of those users. We can mark any of those resources as lost, and we can process them accordingly. Okay, so let's go ahead and move our entire student body over to that new classification. So we're going to remain in our global functions, but we're going to go over to end of year functions this time. Okay, on the left hand side, we're going to choose the class grade change option. On the class grade 2, we're going to go ahead and select from the drop down left 2019. In the from, we're going to open that up, select our year 7s, and we're going to click the update button. This is going to give us a confirmation. Are you sure you want to move everyone from year 7 to left 2019? We say yes, and it's given us a confirmation message. We then need to go ahead and do exactly that same process for year 8s. Click update, year 9s, click update, etc., etc. We move through our entire student body. We don't need to worry too much about our staff unless you're a school that has a high staff turnover, in which case we can move all of our staff to that left 2019. We just have to make sure that we get another CSV file with all of our new staff enrollments as well. Okay, once we've finished this process and we've moved our entire student body across to our left 2019 classification, we can now perform a patron import. Now, everything that I've showed you up until this point can be done this side of 2020. Bear in mind that doing this process is going to affect all of your loan parameters from now until beginning of next year. So if you are still borrowing books, maybe wait until you close the library down from loaning books out to your users and perform this function once the borrowing has stopped. Okay, let's jump across now and have a look at our patron import facility. So we're going to click on System menu. We're going to go down to Patron because this is where we manage all of our patron functions. And we're going to have a look at Smart Patron Import. Okay, once we've got our CSV file from our administration team or our ICT team, we're going to go ahead and click Upload File and select that from our computer. Once we've selected the file, Smart Patron Import is going to open it up and it's going to automatically try to map the fields within our CSV file to the fields within inside the SmartSuite library or TV4Education database. And it has alerted us to some successfully mapped fields and some fields that it wasn't able to map. So if we have a look down the bottom here, we can see the green ones. The system says, yes, I know what this is. I believe I have mapped them correctly. It's highlighted those in green. What we need to do is we need to verify that that has done its job correctly. So if I have a look at this field here, it contains email addresses. The field in the drop-down is the field that it's going to insert all that information into the SmartSuite library or TV4Education database. This one here looks like it's a whole bunch of usernames. So it has mapped that correctly to our username. We've got our year group levels, that's mapped to classification, and then we can see our homerooms. The columns in red The system has said, look, it's a little bit open-ended. It could be a first name, it could be a surname, I just don't know. So it's highlighted those in red, and we need to action something against those fields. So if I have a look at these patrons here, I can see that this one here contains the first name. So in the drop-down box, I'm going to go and search for first name and select that. The system has turned that to orange, which means that it was an error, but it's now been dealt with. We do the same thing for surname. Okay, and this one here, we're wanting the system to import that into both the barcode and the external ID field. So I'm going to have a look at this number, and I'm going to select barcode, and I'm going to scroll down the list and select external ID, and we can see there that it's going to insert all of the information in this field in the CSV file to the barcode and external ID fields. Okay, now the next step is going to be really important for us. So if I go to next step, this is giving us a snapshot of what the system is actually going to do. So first of all, in the top column for each of these classifications, it's showing us what the data is currently in the SmartSuite library or TV4Education database. So we can see here that the examples that it's giving us is Robert Van Dyken. He is currently in a classification of left 2019. If I am to proceed with this import, it's going to reinsert Rob into the classification of 7. Now this is going to be really important, because if you have made a mistake on that previous settings page and you've got your first names and your surnames mixed up, it will actually advise you, part of the import that you're about to do, I'm going to insert Quentin into the surname field and Fernandez into the first name field. If that is the case and you need to make changes, click go back, make the changes that you need, and then you can preview your changes again. If you're happy with what the system is about to do, we go ahead and click perform changes. Now the system is going to give us a message saying what you're about to do is a big change and it won't be able to be undone. We cannot move away from this page. Okay, we do need to acquire a security code, but this page cannot be closed down. As soon as we close it down or navigate away from it, it is going to drop all of the import settings that we've just done, and we're going to have to start from scratch again. So to make it easy, when you go over to your system menu, make sure that you right click to bring up your options and then select open link in new tab. The security code that the system is talking about, like I mentioned before, is going to be emailed to you, but it is also sent to the mailbox. If you open up the mailbox, click on the systems inbox, you can see here that the patron import security code has been sent to Quentin. So if I open that one up, that's my security code there. So I just need to copy that back over to my patron import and click confirm. Now the system is going to go through and do a whole bunch of validations. It's going to import all that information according to that import file that we've done, and it's going to then run some validations after the import as well. So if we did end up with any duplicate patrons or anything like that, you'll see the error messages on this page here. You'll be able to click and you'll be able to see them. Don't navigate away from this page. Okay, now the reason behind that is if I now go over to my second tab here, I can go to my patron management area and I can review the information that exists for each of these patrons. Now I recommend going through maybe half a dozen patrons at a minimum just to verify that the basic information is correct, they are in the correct year levels and homerooms. because if there has been any major issues with the import, we accidentally mapped it to the wrong fields, there is a sneaky little feature. I can come back to my patron import page. I can click the Go Back button, and I can click Roll Back. Now what this is going to do is it's going to undo the import that I have just done to the point before I started. So all of my patrons will be in that left 2019 year group. If we mapped the first names and surnames incorrectly, it's going to revert that for us. So we can now go and either call the customer service team at FSI and say, please help, or we can give it another go ourselves. Okay, so it's a nice, easy way to do it as long as we don't navigate away from this page. As soon as we navigate away, we lose all of our settings and we lose the ability to do that rollback. Once, obviously, you have gone through and verified a few of your patrons and you're happy with the import, you can then close down the page or navigate away. Okay, now I told you there was going to be a little early Christmas present for you. The process really is that easy. So my recommendation is, number one, when we finish the YouTube live event for today, go and have a chat to your administration team or your ICT team and ask them for them to be ready to give you that CSV file for the start of 2020. Have a chat to them about the fields of information you want that CSV file to contain. To recap it, first name, surname, enrollment ID or barcode, the email address, year level, and the home room. That's the minimum information we require. If you want to be able to send emails home to parents with overdue information, make sure that they include parents' details. If you want to be able to print mailing labels and post information to the parents, make sure that you've got addresses as well. So as much information as you want to contain in the CSV file is okay. We can host it in fields in the patron management area, but as a minimum, we do need those 6. So that's the first thing that you need to do today. Next thing is to create that left 2019 classification in your class grade edit table. Once you have closed your library from borrowing, you need to do that third step, which is to move your entire student body over to the 2019 classification. Once you go away and you have a great time relaxing on the beach or hitting the snow overseas somewhere, come back and perform that patron import. That's all you need to worry about. So thank you so much for attending the end of year, start of year procedures with myself, Santa's little helper today. We really hope that you've had a great year with us. We've certainly had an awesome time supporting everyone, meeting you at our events online and in person. We are definitely going to be running a whole bunch more of these events and on-site events in 2020, especially with the pending release of SmartSuite version 3. So stay tuned for that. Just to freak everyone out, there are 4 more weeks left to Christmas. So if we don't see you again before 2020, on behalf of myself and the rest of the FSI team, have a very Merry Christmas and a safe New Year. Thanks very much, everyone. See you later.